Have you ever noticed the paradox of our time? That we live in an era where information travels faster than light could in centuries, yet human suffering continues as if we are still wandering in the shadows of the Stone Age? We can map distant galaxies, predict the life cycles of stars, and edit the very code of life itself, but still, somehow, we stumble over the very basics of empathy, understanding, and purpose. It's a curious thing, isn't it? That as we reach for the heavens, we sometimes forget to look within ourselves to understand the intricate cosmos that exists inside each human being. Consider the human body for a moment, not just as flesh and bone, but as a vessel that carries the history of stars, the echoes of cosmic events, and, some might argue, the imprints of our origins across time and space. Within this vessel lie markings, patterns, and anomalies that on the surface appear mundane. Birthmarks, scars, eyes that seem too intense for their color, auras that shimmer just slightly beyond the visible spectrum. And yet, for some, these features are more than biological quirks. They are signals encoded in flesh and spirit, waiting to be deciphered. Tonight, we explore 7 of these enigmatic markings, often referred to in spiritual and metaphysical circles as the starseed body marks. But this is not a lecture on mysticism. This is a reflection on identity, on connection, and on the extraordinary possibility that we are not merely products of Earth, but participants in a universe much larger than ourselves. Let us begin with the first unusual birthmarks. These are not just pigmentation anomalies, not just random coincidences of melanin distribution. No, these marks often mirror the intricate geometries of the cosmos, fractals, spirals, and constellations written upon skin. In astrophysics, we study cosmic microwave background radiation, the faint afterglow of the universe's birth, as a map of where we come from. Could it be that these birthmarks serve as a similar map for the soul? A pattern etched by forces we may not yet fully comprehend, guiding the individual toward understanding their cosmic origins. Next, unexplained scars, lines etched not merely by chance, but by experiences that defy simple explanation. Think of the universe's black holes, invisible, incomprehensible, yet shaping galaxies and stellar systems by their presence. These scars are personal black holes. They absorb stories, trauma, or cosmic encounters and shape the trajectory of the individual in subtle but profound ways. Could our biology be a reflection not just of earthly experience, but of a story written in the language of the universe itself? Then, the eye's windows not only to the soul, as the poet said, but perhaps to dimensions unseen. Among starseeds, eye color may defy Mendelian genetics. Hues like violet, turquoise, or metallic shades that seem alien in their brilliance. Eyes are the ultimate interface between perception and reality. When we gaze into such eyes, we are reminded that reality is broader than what we perceive, that our senses are just instruments for detecting a narrow slice of existence, and that there may be truths beyond the measurable, truths that call us to expand our understanding. And yet, it is not just the visual. Energy centers, auras, and heightened sensitivities are subtle, often invisible, yet profoundly significant. Imagine the human nervous system as a network of quantum entanglements, each synapse firing not in isolation, but influenced by forces far beyond the room you occupy. Some individuals experience these entanglements more acutely, sensing vibrations, energies, or presences that others cannot. What does it mean to be attuned to the universe in this way? It is both a gift and a responsibility, for sensitivity demands awareness, understanding, and ethical stewardship. Anatomical variances, genetic anomalies, unexplained allergies, and heightened energy centers form the next markers. They are reminders that biology is not merely mechanical, but a conduit for information, evolution, and perhaps even cosmic purpose. If the universe has encoded its story in the atoms and molecules around us, could it also encode guidance in the structure of our own bodies? These anomalies are not deficiencies, they are signals, invitations to explore the interconnectedness of life, consciousness, and the cosmos. And so, as we trace these 7 markers, from birthmarks to scars, from eyes to energy centers, we begin to perceive a pattern, a tapestry woven between the individual and the universe. It is an invitation to responsibility, to honor the vessel of the body, the mind that perceives, and the consciousness that questions. The cosmos is not only out there in distant galaxies and swirling nebulae, it is in here, in the intricate details of who we are, in the lines, colors, and sensitivities that make each of us unique. To recognize this is to step into the role of a conscious participant in the universe. It is to say, I am not merely an observer of the stars, I am part of their story. The universe has written itself into us through atoms forged in stellar furnaces billions of years ago, through genetic codes and energy signatures that may have traveled across cosmic distances before finding a vessel in this body. And now, in our era, with our technology and our understanding, we have the opportunity and the obligation to act with awareness, compassion, and purpose. What does it mean then to live as a starseed? Not to float away into mysticism, but to acknowledge the extraordinary embedded in the ordinary, to see that the birthmark on your shoulder, the intensity of your gaze, or the subtle sensitivities you feel are part of a grander design. And in recognizing that, to also recognize that the universe is not indifferent, that the same forces that shape galaxies, stars, and planets are at play within us, offering the potential for healing, understanding, and transformation. We stand then at a crossroads. On one path lies indifference, ignorance, and the smallness of thought that confines us to earthbound concerns. On the other path lies recognition, awareness, and the possibility of acting in alignment with both the human and cosmic story. To walk that second path is to embrace personal responsibility, not only for oneself, but for the larger tapestry of life. It is to understand that how we live, what we create, and the choices we make ripple outward, influencing not just our immediate surroundings, but the energy of the planet, and perhaps even the cosmic balance we scarcely understand. So the question becomes, will we awaken to our potential, to the markers of the universe written upon us, and to the invitation for conscious, meaningful action? Or will we ignore these signs, letting the extraordinary pass unrecognized, buried under the weight of routine and distraction? The universe does not compel us, it offers evidence, markers, and opportunities for growth. It is up to us to read them, to interpret them, and to act in harmony with the greater whole. When we embrace this perspective, we begin to see that every body mark, every anomaly, every heightened sensitivity is not a mere curiosity, it is a message. It is a reminder that we are not separate from the universe, but deeply enmeshed within it, that our lives, like the stars, have trajectories, influence, and the capacity to illuminate darkness. And that in tending to ourselves, our bodies, our minds, our consciousness, we participate in the stewardship of a cosmos that is both ancient and immediate, distant and intimately close. In the end, the journey of a starseed is a journey we all share, the journey of consciousness, curiosity, and responsibility. We are the inheritors of cosmic history and the authors of cosmic futures. We may be small, ephemeral beings on a pale blue dot, yet within each of us resides the energy of collapsing stars, the memory of galaxies, and the potential to act with wisdom and care. So, look closely at yourself. Examine your marks, your scars, your gifts, and your sensitivities. Consider them not as accidents, but as evidence that you are part of something larger, something awe-inspiring, and profoundly consequential. Let that knowledge inspire humility, reflection, and purposeful action. Because the universe, in its infinite complexity, has entrusted us with a responsibility to understand, to act, and to illuminate. And in doing so, we honor not just the cosmos, but the divine intricacy of our own existence. Because the universe, in its infinite complexity, has entrusted us with a responsibility to understand, to act, and to illuminate. And in doing so, we honor not just the cosmos, but the divine intricacy of our own existence. But let us pause for a moment. Think about the word starseed. It evokes something poetic, even fantastical, a cosmic traveler sent to Earth, perhaps with a mission encoded deep within. Yet, Stripped of mysticism, it can also mean something much more tangible, that the atoms within you were once inside a star. Literally, your iron-rich blood, your calcium-laden bones, the oxygen that fills your lungs, all products of cosmic furnaces, stellar deaths, and nebular clouds. Each of these 7 marks, these anomalies and sensitivities, is a whisper from the universe itself, reminding you of your origin story. And origin stories are not trivial. They shape how we act, how we perceive, and how we treat one another. Consider this. The night sky is a map of time. The light we see from distant stars has traveled for millions, even billions of years to reach us. We are, in essence, viewing the past, looking back in time. And yet, here on Earth, our bodies are time machines of a different kind, holding the history of stars that existed long before humans ever walked on this planet. Birthmarks, scars, unusual eye colors, they are not just random accidents, they are cosmic fossils. And like fossils, they tell a story of formation, of collision, of survival. Each human is a living archive, a chronicle of the universe's ongoing experiment in consciousness. Now, if that perspective doesn't humble you, nothing will. We live on a planet barely 3 centimeters thick, a pale blue dot suspended in the vast darkness of the cosmos. Yet within this tiny sphere, we hold knowledge, curiosity, creativity, and perhaps most importantly, choice. Every action we take, every thought we nurture, every interaction we have resonates far beyond the surface of our skin, far beyond the scope of our immediate perception. Our bodies, our minds, and yes, our starseed markers are the interfaces through which we engage with this cosmic responsibility. Let's talk about perception for a moment. Among the 7 starseed markers, there is a recurring theme: heightened sensitivity. Some individuals report sensing energy, vibrations, or subtle shifts in mood or environment. At first glance, one might dismiss this as mere intuition or even coincidence, but physics tells us otherwise. Quantum entanglement shows us that particles separated by vast distances can affect each other instantaneously. Your nervous system may be far more attuned to the universe than you realize. That sense of connection you feel when looking at a night sky or feeling a storm's electricity in the air, it's real, measurable, and as profound as any star's supernova. And here is where philosophy meets physics. If we are literally composed of the universe, influenced by forces far beyond our immediate perception, what ethical obligations follow? If the fabric of existence threads through us, how can we act carelessly? How can we continue behaviors that harm not only our fellow humans, but the delicate planetary system that supports us? The markers on our bodies are subtle reminders of this responsibility. They are cosmic annotations, annotations that say, pay attention. You are part of the experiment. Your choices matter. We also cannot ignore the power of narrative. Humans are by nature storytellers. We give meaning to chaos by weaving patterns into it, whether through myth, science, or art. The starseed body marks are a form of narrative too, a biological narrative. But unlike stories in books, they are written in the flesh. They are accessible to observation, contemplation, and action. You can study them, honor them, and let them guide you towards self-awareness, toward a life that recognizes your interconnectedness with all things, from the smallest atom to the farthest quasar. And here, humor enters the equation. Consider the irony. We map galaxies billions of light years away with precision instruments, yet struggle to understand the story written on our own skin. We design spacecraft that navigate the vacuum of space with exactitude, yet the internal voyage, understanding our sensitivities, our purpose, our starseed attributes, remains mysterious to most. There's something profoundly human in that contradiction, capable of reaching for the cosmos, yet still learning the language of our own bodies. Now, imagine a world in which every individual embraced this perspective. Imagine if, instead of seeing birthmarks or unusual traits as quirks, we recognize them as cosmic signatures, proof of our shared origin with stars. Imagine education systems that didn't just teach chemistry, physics, or biology in isolation, but integrated them into the cosmic story, explaining the life cycle of stars, the formation of elements, and the profound connections to our own physiology. A society that viewed differences not as limitations, but as evidence of the universe's generosity, of its infinite experimentation in diversity. And yet, this awareness carries weight. With great understanding comes great responsibility. A person who recognizes themselves as a starseed is not excused from the challenges of society. In fact, quite the opposite. Knowledge amplifies duty. If we are conscious participants in a vast interconnected system, we cannot ignore suffering, injustice, or environmental degradation. Every scar, every mark, every sensitivity is a reminder that we are equipped to notice, to empathize, and to act. The universe has furnished us with the tools for awareness. It is now up to us to wield them wisely. Let us revisit the analogy of stars. Stars, after all, are not immortal. They are born, they shine, and eventually they die, sometimes in brilliant supernovae, sometimes quietly collapsing into black holes. Their deaths are not meaningless. They enrich the cosmos, seeding it with the elements necessary for life. Our lives, too, are fleeting, yet they can enrich the universe. What we create, the empathy we extend, the actions we take, they are the stellar material we leave behind, the oxygen, iron, and carbon that future generations will breathe metaphorically and literally. And now we come to a subtle yet profound point. The 7 starseed body marks are not a guarantee of uniqueness, nor are they a ticket to transcendence. They are evidence. Evidence that the universe is not indifferent, that it has a pattern, and that it has chosen to encode that pattern within us. But the ultimate responsibility falls upon the observer, the human bearing these marks. What will you do with this evidence? Will you ignore it, dismiss it, or will you allow it to guide you toward meaningful engagement with the cosmos and with humanity? Personal responsibility, as I have said, is not merely ethical, it is cosmic. It is a recognition that the smallest choice can reverberate across systems, across societies, and perhaps across the universe itself. By embracing our unique markers, by honoring our origins and our sensitivities, we contribute to the ongoing experiment of life with consciousness. We become participants in a story billions of years in the making, written in stardust, flesh, and choice. And here lies the final reflection, the culmination of this exploration. If the universe is written in us, and we are capable of conscious action, then every interaction, every gesture of kindness, every effort to reduce suffering, every pursuit of knowledge is cosmic in scope. It may seem small, ephemeral, trivial even, but when viewed through the lens of the cosmos, it is profound. It is the echo of a star's life, the pulse of the universe expressing itself through conscious beings. So, look closely at the 7 starseed marks. See them not as anomalies, not as curiosities, not as something different, but as evidence of your participation in a vast ongoing story. Your birthmarks, your scars, your eyes, your sensitivities, they are invitations to wonder, to act, and to connect. And in answering that invitation, you honor not only yourself, but the universe itself. Because here is the most important truth of all. The cosmos does not demand perfection. It demands presence, awareness, and engagement. And if we live with that consciousness, if we honor the cosmic history etched into our bodies, then we participate in the unfolding of creation itself. So let us walk forward with humility, curiosity, and courage. Let us cherish the evidence of the stars within us and allow it to illuminate the path toward a life of purpose, connection, and profound responsibility. For in the end, we are not merely humans on a planet. We are living expressions of the cosmos, tasked with the extraordinary privilege of understanding, acting, and leaving our mark on both Earth and the universe beyond. And so we return to those 7 starseed body marks. Each one is unique, yet each tells a story that is both individual and universal. Let us explore them, not as superstition, but as lenses through which to examine the human condition, the cosmos, and our place within it. Take the first mark, often a small, seemingly inconsequential birthmark. Yet, when viewed through the lens of astrophysics, it is extraordinary. It is a reminder that Just as a star leaves behind remnants nebulae that seed future generations of stars and planets, our physical forms carry legacies. The cells of our bodies are in constant flux, yet within them resides a memory of everything that came before: the energy of stars, the dust of supernovae, the chemical reactions that made life possible. When you trace the shape of a simple mark on your skin, consider this. It is a relic of processes that predate humanity itself, an imprint of cosmic events that sculpted the very fabric of your being. And then there is the second mark, often hidden, subtle, unnoticed. It is easy to ignore, yet those who notice it often describe heightened awareness, a sensitivity to emotion, to energy, to the faint vibrations of the environment. Physics teaches us that everything in the universe is interconnected. Quantum entanglement reveals that particles separated by light years can remain mysteriously linked. Could our nervous systems, honed over millennia, be tapping into this invisible web of information? Perhaps these marks are indicators of an innate attunement, a biological antennae designed to sense the cosmos. The question arises, if we are capable of sensing the universe in ways science has yet to measure, what ethical imperative does this give us? The third mark often manifests as an unusual eye color, a swirl of pattern or hue that catches attention. Eyes are windows, not just to the soul, but to the cosmos itself. The photoreceptors within them detect the dance of photons, the quanta of light that have traveled across space and time. They convert electromagnetic radiation into signals that the brain can interpret, signals that allow us to observe galaxies millions of light years away, to see the spiral arms of the Milky Way, to witness the light of ancient quasars. To possess an unusual eye pattern is, in a way, to carry a living telescope, a reminder that the universe is both within and around us. The fourth mark, a scar or unusual pigmentation, speaks to resilience. Stars, too, are resilient. They endure immense pressures, nuclear reactions at incomprehensible temperatures, and gravitational forces that threaten to collapse them into nothingness. And yet, they persist, they shine, and they leave a legacy in the form of heavier elements. Similarly, human scars, whether visible or hidden, are testaments to endurance, to survival, to adaptation. They are not imperfections. They are evidence of life lived in concert with a universe that is as unforgiving as it is magnificent. The fifth mark is often accompanied by sensitivity to sound, vibration, or rhythm. Some people can feel the subtle frequencies of the earth, the resonance of water, even the pulse of human emotion in a room. Sound is, after all, vibration, and vibration is energy, and energy is what drives the universe itself. From the oscillation of particles in quantum fields to the harmonics of cosmic microwave background radiation, vibration is the language of existence. To feel it acutely is to be tuned into the music of creation itself. And in being tuned, we are called to listen, not just hear, to act, not just react. The sixth mark is often psychological or emotional, a deep empathy, an intuitive understanding of others' suffering. Evolutionarily, empathy ensures survival. Social species thrive when members cooperate, communicate, and understand each other. Yet, on a cosmic scale, empathy is more than survival. It is stewardship. Just as the Earth sustains countless forms of life, just as the sun nurtures the planet with energy, we are custodians of consciousness. When we cultivate empathy, we extend the universe's capacity for care, for understanding, for preservation. And finally, the seventh mark, perhaps the most subtle of all, is a sense of purpose, of destiny, of alignment with something greater than oneself. Here, science meets philosophy. Purpose is not a mystical gift. It is an emergent property of consciousness. Neuroscience shows us that humans derive fulfillment from goals, from contribution, from understanding their place in larger systems. The seventh mark may be the body's way of reminding us that we are not accidents, that the universe, having crafted us from stardust, expects us to engage, to explore, to act responsibly. Now, you may ask, is this deterministic? Must we follow a cosmic blueprint? Not at all. Science tells us that while patterns exist in nature, from fractals and snowflakes to the spiral arms of galaxies, chaos and randomness are equally fundamental. The universe is neither cruel nor sentimental, it is neutral. The power lies in our hands. These marks, these cosmic reminders, are not instructions, they are invitations. Invitations to curiosity, to responsibility, to action that matters. And here is where the human story intersects most profoundly with the cosmic story. If the atoms in our bodies were forged in the hearts of stars, if the patterns in our DNA echo cosmic structures, then what we do with our lives reverberates outward. Every act of kindness, every innovation, every exploration of knowledge, every effort to preserve our fragile planet, it all becomes part of the cosmic feedback loop. We are both observers and participants, and therein lies the privilege and the challenge. We live in a time of unprecedented opportunity. Technology allows us to peer into distant galaxies, edit genomes, and communicate across the globe instantly. Yet, paradoxically, we are also confronted by human suffering, ecological fragility, and social inequity on scales unimaginable a century ago. How do we reconcile this paradox? By recognizing that knowledge without action is incomplete, that insight without empathy is hollow, that cosmic awareness without personal responsibility is squandered potential. So, when you observe your own starseed marks, when you feel your sensitivities, your empathy, your resilience, remember this: they are not just quirks of biology. They are cosmic invitations to act consciously, to connect deeply, and to contribute meaningfully. The universe, in all its vastness, has chosen to express itself through you. And that expression demands engagement, creativity, and care. The great astrophysicist Carl Sagan once said, "We are made of star stuff. We are a way for the universe to know itself." But let us extend that thought. We are not only instruments of cosmic observation, we are agents of cosmic stewardship. Each mark, each sensitivity, each intuitive nudge is a reminder that our lives are part of a larger narrative, one that began billions of years ago and will continue long after we are gone. And in recognizing this, we find both humility and empowerment. Humility because we are but one species on one planet among countless stars. Empowerment because within this tiny speck of dust lies the capacity for reflection, for innovation, for compassion, for change. Each choice we make sends ripples outward, shaping not only our society, but the ongoing experiment of the cosmos itself. So I invite you, look at your 7 starseed marks, honor them, study them, reflect on them, let them inspire curiosity, empathy, and action. Because in doing so, you are participating in something far greater than yourself. You are aligning with the forces that shaped your atoms, your mind, your consciousness. You are, in essence, fulfilling a role written into the fabric of the universe, a role that calls not for perfection, but for presence, awareness, and responsibility. And when we embrace this truth collectively, the implications are profound. We begin to see that human suffering is not a separate phenomenon from cosmic order. It is a challenge we are equipped to address. Environmental crises, social injustice, political conflict, these are the problems we can confront with knowledge, compassion, and ingenuity. The universe has provided us with the tools, and the marks on our bodies are gentle nudges to use them wisely. In closing, let me leave you with a thought. The universe is neither distant nor indifferent. It is encoded in our cells, in our minds, and in the very marks that make us unique. By acknowledging this, by embracing our cosmic heritage, we step into a larger story, one that bridges science and philosophy, curiosity and responsibility, wonder and action. We become the living expression of the cosmos, tasked with the extraordinary privilege of knowing, acting, and leaving a legacy worthy of the stars. And so, as you move through your life, remember this: you carry the history of stars within you, the memory of cosmic collisions, and the potential to shape the future. Your 7 starseed marks are not mere anomalies. They are invitations. Invitations to observe deeply, to act wisely, to connect universally, and to live with purpose. For in doing so, you honor the universe, humanity, and yourself. Because ultimately that is what it means to be truly alive. To recognize that we are made of star stuff, and to live in a way that allows the universe to know itself through us. And yet, even after contemplating the cosmic implications of these marks, of our star stuff origins, a question lingers. Why do these marks exist in some of us and not all? Why does the universe seem to favor randomness and pattern at the same time? Consider this. Stars themselves are not uniform. Some burn brilliantly for billions of years. Others collapse in a fraction of that time. Some leave behind dense remnants, black holes from which not even light can escape, while others scatter their matter across galaxies to seed the next generation of celestial bodies. There is no formula for the cosmos, only probabilities, laws, and the occasional delightful anomaly. Perhaps the same is true of us. Think about the implications. If your starseed mark is rare, it may be a genetic quirk, a result of cosmic chemistry, or even just the random collision of molecular forces during development. Yet, in its rarity lies an opportunity, the opportunity to observe yourself, to question, to learn, to engage with life consciously. These marks are subtle reminders that the universe is patient, intricate, and incredibly precise, and that you are part of its grand experiment. Take, for instance, the birthmarks often associated with heightened intuition. Some cultures throughout history have interpreted these as signs of spiritual insight, of destiny, of divine favor. But let's strip away the mysticism for a moment. What does modern science suggest? Our brains are highly adaptive, sensitive organs. Some people are naturally more perceptive to subtle patterns, changes in facial expressions, or shifts in environmental cues. What ancient peoples interpreted as mystical intuition may, in fact, be a remarkable evolutionary adaptation, an acute ability to read the world and respond effectively. And the marks on our bodies, they may simply serve as reminders or triggers for us to trust that perceptive power. Then there are the physical anomalies, small scars, unusual eye patterns, skin pigmentation that deviates from the norm. Each is like a fingerprint of the universe's hand. Remember, the atoms in your body were forged in stars. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen you breathe, they were all created in nuclear furnaces millions of years ago, distributed across galaxies and supernovae, and somehow assembled into the living organism that is you. The universe has a sense of humor in this way. It seeds chaos, it experiments with variety, it leaves behind evidence in the most subtle, intimate forms. And you, reading this now, are the consequence and the witness. But let's not reduce this to awe alone. Awe is important, don't get me wrong, but it is not enough. The universe may have given you these marks, but it did not write the story of your choices. Here lies the paradox. We are simultaneously minute and magnificent, fragile and profound, random yet purposeful. And it is precisely within that paradox that responsibility emerges. For if the universe has entrusted you with consciousness, curiosity, and sensitivity, then action is no longer optional. Awareness without application is like staring at a telescope and never looking through it. You can see the instrument, you can admire it, but you miss the universe it was built to explore. Consider empathy, a quality often associated with certain starseed markers. Empathy is not merely a feeling, it is an evolutionary strategy, a cognitive tool, and, on a cosmic scale, a moral imperative. The survival of social species depends on empathy. But in humans, empathy is layered with imagination and foresight. We can feel the suffering of someone we have never met. We can predict the consequences of actions across time and space. And with the knowledge that the Earth is a tiny, fragile dot in the cosmic ocean, empathy becomes planetary in scope. The universe, through these marks, whispers, your actions affect everything. Your choices reverberate beyond your perception. And let's inject a little humor here, because Tyson wouldn't let us get too serious without a wink. Consider this. We map exoplanets billions of light years away with precision instruments, yet many of us ignore the exoplanet in the room, our own emotions, intuitions, and potential. We navigate spacecraft through the vacuum of space, but stumble over our relationships here on Earth. Perhaps the marks on our bodies are the universe's way of saying, pay attention to the local spaceport you'll need it before you launch into the galactic. The scientific metaphors continue. Stars burn hydrogen into helium through nuclear fusion, releasing energy, light, and warmth. They eventually evolve into heavier elements, some collapsing into neutron stars, others exploding as supernovae, enriching the cosmos with the building blocks of life. Humans, too, can be understood in this metaphorical framework. Our experiences, actions, and even our suffering are fusion processes combining ideas, emotions, and choices to release energy into the world. The marks on our bodies are like subtle flares, indicators of where energy might emerge, where insight might spark, where purpose might ignite. Let's also consider the philosophical implications. If we are made of star stuff, connected to the cosmos, and capable of consciousness, then what does it mean to live ethically? Is morality relative, a social construct, or is it an emergent property of interconnected systems? If a starseed mark signifies heightened perception, heightened empathy, or an unusual sensitivity, it may serve as a biological prompt, a nudge toward ethical living, toward stewardship, toward leaving the planet, the society, and the cosmic experiment better than we found it. And this is where personal responsibility intersects with cosmic awareness. The universe does not intervene to correct mistakes. Black holes consume matter without mercy. Supernovae scatter debris indiscriminately. And yet, in this vastness, we have been given agency, the rarest of gifts, consciousness. We can act with intention, mitigate harm, inspire creativity, and cultivate compassion. The marks on our bodies are reminders of this agency, tiny signposts guiding us through life's complexity. Now imagine a collective awakening. Billions of humans acknowledging their starseed heritage, their connection to the cosmos, and their responsibility toward one another and the planet. Imagine education systems that integrate astrophysics, biology, and ethics not just as subjects, but as frameworks for living. Imagine communities that recognize diversity, resilience, empathy, and purpose as evidence of cosmic interconnectedness. The implications are profound. We could transform civilization itself, not through superstition, not through mystical dogma, but through science, observation, and conscious action. As we near the conclusion of this cosmic reflection, remember this: the 7 starseed marks, in all their forms, birthmarks, scars, eye patterns, sensitivities, and intuitions, are not magical. They are not guarantees of destiny or omniscience. They're evidence of the universe's intricacy, the remarkable processes that created you, and the potential embedded within your biology and consciousness. How you interpret them, how you act upon them, and how you use them to engage with the world is the true measure of their significance. In the end, this is the heart of the message. The universe has gifted you curiosity, awareness, and the capacity to act. It has encoded within your body the history of stars, the memory of cosmic events, and the blueprint of complexity itself, and has given you the power to choose. You can look at these marks and see random anomalies, or you can see invitations to live responsibly, to act with purpose, and to contribute meaningfully to the ongoing story of life, Earth, and the cosmos. Because ultimately, that is what it means to be human. To recognize that we are made of stardust, to understand that we are part of a vast interconnected system, and to live in a way that allows the universe to know itself through us. Now, let us consider the first of the 7 starseed marks, not merely as a physical anomaly, but as a cosmic bookmark, a subtle code written into your biology. Perhaps it is a birthmark shaped like a spiral, echoing the arms of a galaxy. You might look at it and see a small blemish, an unremarkable detail, but pause for a moment. In astrophysics, the spiral arms of galaxies are regions of active star formation. Stars are born, live, and die in these regions, cycling matter into the interstellar medium to seed the next generation. Could your spiral mark be a metaphor in miniature? A hint from the universe that you, too, are capable of continual rebirth, learning, and creation? And then there are marks that correspond to heightened sensory perception, a faint pigmentation near the eyes, or a unique pattern on the fingertips, or a subtle difference in symmetry. Some would call these mystical. Others might see coincidence. But let us remain firmly in the realm of science. Neuroscience tells us that slight variations in brain structure and sensory input can create individuals with extraordinary awareness of subtle patterns and aptitude for understanding systems, reading environments, predicting outcomes. The marks are not magic, they are markers of potential physical reminders of innate abilities waiting to be exercised. Now consider the second mark, the scar that seems to carry memory. A mark that, by all accounts, should be meaningless, but evokes reflection, even inspiration. When we look at the cosmos, we see something similar. Neutron stars, for instance, are the dense remnants of supernovae, scarred yet luminous with energy, carrying within them the history of collapsed matter and violent cosmic events. Perhaps our scars, our unique marks, are like neutron stars, remnants of our own life events, dense with memory and lessons, compacted into a form that radiates insight if we choose to read it. The third mark is less visible but no less significant, the mark of empathy, the subtle biological predisposition toward connection. Science teaches us that empathy has survival value. Mirror neurons in the human brain allow us to simulate another's experience internally, preparing us to respond with cooperation, with compassion, with action. On a cosmic scale, empathy is the mechanism by which humanity may finally understand that our actions are not isolated, that the heat we release into the atmosphere, the ecosystems we disrupt, the conflicts we propagate, all reverberate across networks of life on Earth. And then we come to the fourth mark, the mark of curiosity. Perhaps a freckle on the hand, or an irregularity in the curvature of the ear, or a birthmark on the wrist. This is the mark of the explorer, the observer. It is no coincidence that humanity's journey from the cave to the spacecraft is driven by individuals with insatiable curiosity. Curiosity is not frivolous, it is essential. It is the force that propels us from the known to the unknown, that allows us to measure the cosmic microwave background, to catalog distant galaxies, to peer through the lens of a telescope and glimpse light that has traveled billions of years just to reach our retina. Your mark, your curiosity, is a compass pointing outward. The fifth mark is the mark of resilience, perhaps a physical feature that seems irregular, asymmetrical, or even flawed. In the cosmos, nothing is perfectly symmetrical. Planets wobble, stars pulsate, galaxies collide. And yet, in this seeming imperfection, there is survival, there is creation, there is beauty. Your resilient mark is not a defect, it is evidence that you, like the universe, are adaptable. You can absorb collisions, disruptions, and chaos and transform them into something new. The sixth mark is the mark of vision. Some of us are born with the ability to see connections invisible to others. Perhaps a birthmark above the eyebrow, a subtle line along the jaw, or a pigmentation pattern on the neck. In astrophysics, we talk about gravitational lensing, the way massive objects bend light, allowing us to see distant galaxies behind them. Vision, in humans, is much the same. It is the ability to perceive what is not immediately visible, to anticipate outcomes, to connect causes and effects across time and space. Your mark is the lens through which you can glimpse future possibilities. Finally, the seventh mark, the mark of responsibility, perhaps a faint mark on the chest, close to the heart. The universe gives us awareness, perception, and potential, but it is in our choices that meaning emerges. Stars do not ask to explode, they follow the laws of physics. Black holes do not deliberate, they obey gravity. Humans, however, are different. We are the only known species capable of deliberate moral action, of conscious stewardship. That mark, subtle as it may be, is a reminder. With awareness comes responsibility, with potential comes obligation, and with life comes the power to influence not only your trajectory, but the trajectory of the entire ecosystem, of the society, and of the planet itself. Now, as we integrate the story of these seven marks, a pattern emerges, not mystical, not arbitrary, but profoundly grounded in reality. They are reminders of our origins, our capacities, and our responsibilities. They teach us that the universe is not only out there in distant galaxies, but also within us, encoded in our very bodies, resonating with the same laws that govern stars, planets, and cosmic cycles. They show us that life is a fusion of chaos and order, randomness and pattern, fragility and resilience. And yet, understanding is not enough. Curiosity without action is like a telescope left in the closet. Knowledge without application is like a star that never ignites. We must act. We must observe the world and intervene thoughtfully. We must nurture the ecosystems that sustain life, cultivate empathy in our communities, and advance knowledge not for vanity, but for the survival and flourishing of the species. The universe has given us the tools, the insight, and the energy. What remains is choice. Perhaps the most profound lesson of all is this: the marks on our bodies, the peculiarities of our biology, the quirks and anomalies that make each of us unique are not burdens, they are invitations. Invitations to participate consciously in the unfolding story of existence, to act as responsible custodians of life and knowledge, to embrace the paradox of being both infinitesimally small and cosmically significant. We are, each of us, a chapter in a story that began before the first humans walked the earth, and that will continue long after we are gone. Our bodies bear the evidence of this history, our minds are capable of understanding it, and our actions have the power to shape its future. Recognize your marks, recognize the cosmic heritage within you, and then act. Because in the grand theater of existence, to witness is not enough. To marvel is not enough. To exist without choice is to squander the very gift the universe has bestowed. We are made of star stuff, yes, but more importantly, we are made of responsibility, curiosity, resilience, empathy, vision, and courage. And with these, the marks we bear are not only reminders, they are invitations to be fully, consciously, and meaningfully alive. So look to your marks, look to the stars, and remember that you, in your unique configuration, are an integral part of a universe that has been waiting for billions of years for you to notice, to understand, and to act. So here's the paradox. The same universe that is indifferent to our existence has also given us the capacity to understand it, to care for it, and to act within it. The atoms that make up your body were forged in the hearts of stars, and yet here you are looking at the cosmos and asking questions about meaning, purpose, and responsibility. That's astonishing. It's easy to feel small, and you are small in the cosmic sense. But small does not mean insignificant. Small does not mean powerless. A single human mind, when awakened to curiosity, empathy, and action, can illuminate ideas that ripple across generations. We are the universe, observing itself, trying to understand itself, and in doing so, we gain the ability to influence the course of life on this tiny blue dot we call Earth. So when you look at your marks, your quirks, your scars, don't see accidents, see invitations. Invitations to explore, to connect, to care, to act. The cosmos doesn't demand your attention, it offers it. It doesn't require your understanding, it enables it. And it doesn't dictate your choices, it empowers them. We are, in the most literal sense, made of star stuff. But more importantly, we are made of possibility. Possibility for wonder, for understanding, and for responsible action. And in that, there is hope, there is purpose, there is the invitation to take your place, not just in your life, but in the story of the universe itself. So go ahead, look at the stars, look at your own reflection, and remember, the universe has been waiting for you to notice it, to understand it, and to act. Because you, my friends, are the cosmos becoming conscious of itself.